What's up, captains? Now, before we dive into today's episode, I would love if you would lend me your ears and listen to a word from our amazing sponsors. Because remember, your support to my sponsors is what allows me to keep bringing you these illuminating conversations each and every week. Keep in mind, I only accept sponsors who I personally use and support, and I will never promote anything to you that does not meet the captain's lifestyle standards, which are extremely fucking high. With all that being said, let's kick it right off with LAMS. So LAMS is basically wearable antioxidants. How is that possible, Taylor? Well, it's possible because LAMS clothing are made out of silver fibers that block up to 99% of EMFs. What are EMFs? EMFs are electromagnetic fields that cause oxidative stress in the body. And EMFs are emitted from all electronic devices. So your cell phone, your computer, laptop, things like that. 5G towers, especially, are now popping up everywhere. And LAMS protects you from up to 99% of the harmful damages, which some things that you'll notice almost instantaneously if exposed to high levels of EMFs are things like headaches, irritability, fatigue, brain fog, trouble sleeping, inflammation, stuff that most of us struggle with, right? So by reducing our oxidative stress, we reduce all of those symptoms. And to get the hookup on anything from LAMS, you could head over to getlams.com, enter code Captain Morgan. That will save you 10% off of the healthiest clothes that you'll ever wear. It's like wearing blueberries. And bonus, for each purchase, they also donate 5 meals to Feeding America. That's a freaking win-win if I've ever heard of one. So not only can you wear blueberries, but you may actually be giving blueberries to somebody else. So wear your antioxidants, give antioxidants to somebody else, support LAMS, head over to getlams.com, enter code Captain Morgan. That will save you 10%. Next up, this episode is brought to you by Ketone IQ from HVMN. Ketone IQ is an amazing little supplement that I have been hooked on for 2 reasons. One, mental clarity. I take 1 serving in the morning when I'm fasted before I start my work, and it's amazing to give you that mental boost, especially first thing in the morning when you're in an overnight fasted state. It really just supercharges everything. And second, and this is the most exciting thing that I've found from taking Ketone IQ, is the amount of physical endurance that I have. So I use it as a pre-workout. I take 2 shots in the morning. When I'm still fasted, usually I work out fasted in the mornings. I take 2 shots and it's incredible. Like I said, the amount of physical endurance is unparalleled. I really haven't felt that level of endurance or stamina with any other supplement that I've taken. So I am very excited to continue using Ketone IQ. I've just started experimenting with it before bed because I just recently interviewed one of the scientists who works for Ketone IQ, Dr. Lat Mansour, and he mentioned that it may help with sleep. So I've been starting to take it before bed as well. And I will keep you guys posted on those results. But anyways, to get the hookup on Ketone IQ, to try this out, this little rocket fuel in a bottle for yourself, head over to hvmn.com or click the link in the show notes and enter code Captain Morgan 10. That will save you 10% on the world's best exogenous ketones. There are other liquid ketone supplements out there, but they all taste like shit. And you may think that this tastes like shit, but that probably means you haven't tried the other ketone supplements out there because they are god awful. I had a chance to try some at the Metabolic Health Summit down in Santa Barbara, and gosh, Ketone IQ blows all the other ones out of the water. It's, but yeah, Ketone IQ, get the hookup, hvmn.com, use code Captain Morgan 10 and supercharge your brain and your body. With all that being said, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. I am joined by the Alpha Captain, Mr. Samuel Thomas Gordon Johnston. He is the CEO of State of Alpha, and he is joining us today. You guys are so lucky. Welcome, Samuel Thomas Gordon Johnston, to the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast.
Captain Taylor, thank you for having me. the intro, I don't think that can be outdone. Like I need you to record that, and that'll be my alarm when I wake up in the morning every day. Here comes the Alpha Captain.
Rise and shine, Alpha Captains. It's time to get to work.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. All right. Well, I can already tell this is going to be a fun episode.
Oh, yeah.
You texted me a few days ago and were like, hey, you want to get a podcast? I was like, yeah, let's roll. So the topic, if I remember correctly, that you would like to discuss is basically investing in yourself and how people say that can be expensive or that they don't have time or this and that, and what they're sacrificing now, they're end up going to be paying for later.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to even make it more specific, talking about the ROI specifically of investing in your health, because that's something that I think both you and I share, and it being a top priority in how we design our lifestyle, what we spend our money on, what we spend our time on. And people like you and I, we get it. The people that we spend time with, they understand. There's no complaining about the cost of a mentorship. There's no complaining about the cost of organic blueberries, right? Like we understand. And
speaking of which, got him right here.
That was unplanned, by the way. I had no idea he was eating those. But yeah, so to come back to that, I think for a lot of people, what I notice is they complain about the time that it takes to be healthy and the expense or the cost of a healthy lifestyle, of healthy food, of healthy things like going to the gym and going to the cold plunge facility, whatever those things are. And I feel like the biggest disconnect around that is that people forget that it's an investment, and that the more energy and resources you put into this area of your life, the greater the ROI is for you. So that's what I'm hoping we can cover, because I know for you and I, that's so obvious, but for a lot of people, that's a huge missing piece.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I want to kick it off with a pretty alarming stat, because I was telling you before we started recording, I've been updating my group program, the Captain's Lifestyle program. And in the nutrition module, I put a bunch of alarming stats in there to kind of wake people up to what is going on with our food system and just health overall. Mm-hmm. And here is one of these statistics. It's estimated that chronic disease will cost us $95 trillion over the next 35 years. And that number comes from healthcare costs as well as lost productivity. So I don't know what the number is now, but over the next 35 years, if we continue on this horrific trajectory that we're on, they estimate it will cost us $95 trillion, which is just insane. So, and this is all preventable. That's 100% preventable, because that number was estimated on chronic disease alone. Right. And chronic disease, as you know, means lifestyle related. Mm-hmm. That means you can, once you change your lifestyle, the disease no longer exists within you.
Right.
And some of the ways that we can start to get rid of chronic disease are some of our specialties: exercise, eating, going outside in nature, get the sunlight, grounding, sleep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then there's a lost productivity side of it, which I think a lot of people don't know, because I talked about this. I recorded a podcast with Matt Gallo yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And this came up, is that people don't know what it's like to feel good. Right. They think that they feel good, but that's just been their state for the past however many years that they've been consuming junk food. And Matt gave an example. He said that he actually had, after years of not having fast food, he had a Wendy's burger just to try it out. He was curious. And he said within a few hours after that, he just felt so tired and just like out of it. And then his sleep quality sucked that night too. And that's how people are living on a day-to-day basis. That's what their normal is. That's baseline.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that's something that I spend a lot of time with on with my clients is getting them to understand, okay, what's this future reality that you want to create? What is the next level you that you want to show up as? And I had a very, very interesting experience 2 days ago. And I know the client that I'm referring to wouldn't mind me sharing this with you. But I have a client signed up with me a few weeks ago, and his main goal is weight loss. And he's got about 100 pounds to lose. So he knows he's got a long road ahead of him, but he's been crushing it. He's been doing everything perfectly. And he's down 5 pounds in the first week. So I'm super pumped for him. And I know that will continue to progress.
Awesome.
And one of the things that we do in Alpha Body System, which is really unique, is I take my clients through something called the 3-door hypnosis. And what this is it's a guided visualization that allows my clients to get crystal clear on the reality they want to create and the person they want to be at the end of this program. And what was fascinating for this particular client is because it has been so long for him since he's been in that optimal state of health. I mean, maybe he's never been in that optimal state of health, right? He had a really hard time visualizing what he's going to look like at the end of this 12-month period. He knew what it was going to feel like. He was going to have more energy. He was going to be more confident. But in terms of the physical appearance, he was like, man, like, I don't even know. Like, we're going into uncharted waters here. And I think that same idea applies to a lot of people that have never really felt unbound energy or have never felt high levels of motivation to go and chase down what they really want in life. And that can be a hard thing to articulate to someone who's never had a glimpse at that, because it's like, it's trying to describe to you a color that you've never seen before, right? It's like, if you have no understanding of what that looks like or feels like for you, then you might even not even have it as a possibility in your mind. And I think that often actually prevents people from doing the things that you and I obsess over, right? Eating healthy food, getting awesome workouts in, regulating stress levels, getting good quality sleep, getting sunlight, getting your feet in the grass, because maybe life to them just they've written it off as like, this is what it feels like, and it can't be any better than this.
And you think that's why? Because they've never felt any better?
Yeah, right. Their baseline experience is feeling tired, being out of shape, having negative self-talk, and not ever having that feeling of optimal health. And if you've never felt it, I think it can be hard to explain to people.
Yeah. Do you think, so they see people like us talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. They may not have experienced that for themselves, but like when I talk, or when I hear about, I don't know, some Olympian who
for sure
overcame these crazy obstacles and, trained their freaking ass off, and then they won the gold medal. Like, I have no idea what that feels like, but them explaining it, I can kind of tap into that and imagine what it would be like. Do you think it's the same for these people that we're talking about, like your client, for example? Do you think that he's got a vague kind of sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that our job as coaches is to help them get clarity on what that's going to look like and what that's going to feel like. They just might need some additional assistance in that process. Right.
What I've been telling my clients is imagine. So why while
very hypnotic word.
Yeah.
Imagine.
While they might not be able to picture it themselves, like them being in there right now, I say, okay, just imagine what that would be like. And if they say they can't imagine, I say, okay, imagine if you could imagine.
I was just going to say that. Imagine if you could. Yeah.
And that's such a powerful word, because as we know, especially after coming from that Joe Dispenza retreat, man, once you can connect to that feeling and that thought, and the more that you can do that, the more consistently you make that happen, the closer that becomes your actual reality. Mm-hmm. So I was working on this with a client yesterday, he was going through his MVVP, mission, vision, values, and purpose. And he was having a hard time in like envisioning his future self and putting together this cohesive mission statement. And I told him, I was like, okay, well, imagine what it would feel like once you accomplished this, or see, we go through a whole bunch of different exercises with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, imagine yourself there. What are you feeling? Imagine what that feeling is like. And then once you can, I'm kind of butchering this, but once you can connect the thought to the feeling, you can do that basically anytime. You can have that feeling whenever you want, because the brain doesn't know any difference from an imagined reality to what you're actually experiencing. To the brain, it's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that hypnosis process work? Like when you onboard the client?
Yeah, very similar to what you're articulating here. So anytime you work with someone in a hypnotic state, you're circumventing what we call the critical faculty. The critical faculty, you can think of it as like the bodyguard or the bouncer to your subconscious mind, right? Like this bodyguard that like makes sure that no information that shouldn't be in your subconscious mind gets in, right?
That like the ego?
Exactly.
It is the ego? Okay.
Right. But I sometimes avoid using the word ego because a lot of people conflate ego with like having a big ego, rather than understanding your ego is your identity, like your self that you show up as. Right. Yeah. And what we do in a hypnotic state is we're bypassing that. So we're turning that offline, and then we're able to directly communicate with the subconscious mind and implant the suggestions that will affect the change that we want our subjects to have. So whenever, I mean, the what I call resources, and when I say resources, these are things like energy, confidence, organization, discipline. Like these are all internal resources that we can tap into at any time that we want, right? And we did this experiment a few weeks ago when you and I connected, but I asked you, Taylor, think of your phone number in your mind. And for anyone watching right now, do this too. Think of your phone number in your mind. And you might even be able to see your phone number and say it in your mind right now as I'm talking. But where was that before I asked you to think of your phone number? It's somewhere in there, right? And with that exercise, you can begin to think of your mind as a big, dark, vast library with everything you've ever learned, everything you've ever experienced, stored somewhere in that library. But your conscious attention is like a floating flashlight in that library, and you can only hold that flashlight on one piece of information at a time. So my job as a hypnotist is to go in to that dark, vast library and guide the flashlight into the areas that are helpful for it to be.
That is a very helpful analogy. Have you watched SpongeBob? Did you watch SpongeBob?
I have. I must admit, it's been a while before since I last crushed an episode of SpongeBob.
You're missing out then, man. Do you remember that episode where I forget what happened, but they go to like this visual of inside SpongeBob's brain, and it's like this version of SpongeBob, or a bunch of versions of SpongeBob inside of his brain, and they're running around trying to find this piece of information. They're opening up file cabinets and everything's burning, like going to shit. And I imagine that's what's going on in most people's brains, because
most people have a SpongeBob brain.
Yeah, well, because they're consuming toxic oils, like these inflammatory oils that are causing damage to the brain. They have massive amounts of inflammation from EMFs and stress and all these things. And so I imagine it is extremely difficult for somebody, especially who's 100 pounds overweight. There's definitely a lot of inflammation in there for them to connect or to shine the flashlight on the idea that they're trying to see, because their brain's not working as coherently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That reminds me of the NPC meme, right? Like when you don't have that sovereignty to dictate what you want to focus on in your own mind, you're just at the whims of whatever is getting thrown at you.
Dude, people think that they're not in control of their lives. Like they legitimately think that.
Well, I mean, maybe that's intentional in terms of like the population being a lot easier to control when a lot of people don't feel like they have any control.
Yeah. We could go down some rabbit holes. We could get Zeb on.
Yeah. We'll get Zeb and Phil.
You guys don't know Zeb.
Our conspiracy theory mentors.
Yeah. Mentors. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know if it's intentional. Maybe it is, but it makes sense of how it could be intentional, of how there's literally seed oils in everything. There's added sugar in everything, at least in the United States. In Europe, this is a little bit better. Like ketchup, for example, a bottle of Heinz ketchup, exact same brand, exact same bottle, everything. In the United States, it's got high fructose corn syrup and added sugar. Yeah. And in like England, it doesn't. It's just like tomatoes and vinegar, whatever else they put in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, whether or not it's intentional, I don't know, but it is an interesting thing to think about. And then with social media programming, all these things coming out on like healthy at any size, which is just simply not the case. Lie. But if we're programmed to believe that, it's causing inflammation, and inflammation makes us sick and stupid and weak. Mm-hmm. That would be a very easy population to control. Yeah,
for sure. And, as you're talking about this with the ketchup that's injected with high fructose corn syrup and just all the bullshit that our, glyphosate, fucking everything, all the bullshit that our food is poisoned by. It reminds me of a conversation I had a week ago where the conclusion that I arrived at in this discussion was, if you want to thrive and you want to live in your optimal state, you need to do things differently than fucking everybody, right?
That's why we're the weirdos.
Yeah, like we're the weirdos for wearing the red glasses at night so that we get good sleep, and popping 3 pills of magnesium and get it like
not wearing shoes.
Yeah, I had someone the other day be like, "Do you just not wear a shirt?" Like, because I like whenever I'm outside, I'm not wearing a shirt. I'm getting sunlight. I mean, if it's scorching hot, I'm in Texas now, right? So I can't, if I'm in 120-degree weather, I might not be trying to tan my balls on the balcony.
Yeah. But what is it there right now?
Right now, it's not bad. It's like 95, 100. Let me look this up. Austin, Texas.
Yeah, that's what it is here. That's what I was asking, because it's going to be like 100 today where I am. So
it's 97. It's 97 right now.
Okay. Yeah. About the same.
But yeah, like you need to be the weirdo. You need to be the guy, wearing your red light glasses at night, not like, doing this radical thing called not drinking alcohol, right? And what I find hilarious is the word organic makes it seem like that food is special, right? Like when most people think of organic, when we talk about organic blueberries or organic bananas or whatever, as something that's added to the food. Like we think of conventional, which is actually poisoned with glyphosate, as normal. And we think of organic as like something that's extra. Been extra. Like
a bonus.
Extra. Right. But really it's just plain. Like there's no poison added to it. Like that we should change the word organic to not poisoned.
I love that.
And that would give people a far more accurate understanding of what's actually happening to their food behind the scenes.
Oh man, that's good. That's really good, because that's true. Like, we're laughing, but that's literally what it is. Like, glyphosate is poison. It's been proven many, many times. They've been sued. They've given out like millions of dollars to people who have developed cancer from working for Monsanto.
What's the other one that creates transgender frogs?
The one that Zeb was talking about?
Yeah, let me I don't remember. Frog pesticide changes gender.
We need somebody like
Astrazine. Astrazine. Yeah, so your food, if you're eating normal conventional food, you're consuming a chemical that changes the sex of frogs. But we approach that as if that's normal, and organic's like bougie or fancy or something. That's the fucking upside down clown world that we currently live in.
Yeah, I was in the process of making a video before we hopped on this podcast. I couldn't get it done in time because I accidentally deleted it.
Oh man,
frustrations of being an influencer. But I went to Sprouts today and I recorded my whole trip, and I was going to make a video of explaining everything that I got and why I got it. Because when I go shopping, I imagine it's not like most people go shopping. Like most people go shopping based on what looks good to them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what tastes good? This bag of Cheerios or this, I was going to say, what are the orange Cheetos?
Cheetos.
Yeah, Cheetos. That's what I was going to say. But yeah, most people go shopping purely based on taste. They're just feeding their pleasure system, aka their dopamine system. And that's really all that they're thinking about. They're not looking at the macronutrients. They're not looking at the actual quality of the ingredients. They don't give a shit about organic. They're like, bring on the poison, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was going to make this video of explaining like what you should actually look for. So organic being one of those things when it comes to meat, or like bone broth is the example I gave here. Kettle and Fire now makes a regeneratively raised bone broth, which
cool.
is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And like dairy products, for example, like get raw dairy, so it's not pasteurized, and all these things. And then plastic. I noticed you drinking out of a mason jar. I'm drinking out of this new fancy decanter that I got.
Cheers.
All glass. Yep. Cheers, guys. Because plastic is estrogenic. Like, not only is it horrible for the planet, there's a horrendous amount of plastic pollution, but it's bad for humans. It raises estrogen levels, which decreases testosterone, decreases fertility and sperm count. And I've seen articles, I believe this was done in Australia. And of course, it's going to depend on the quality of food that you eat. But it said on average, humans consume about a credit card's worth of plastic every single week.
Wow.
Which is alarming.
That is fucked.
You know, and of course, again, it does depend on the quality of food that you're eating. Like if you're eating hot dogs from tortured cows and pork that's fed slop with plastic in it and bad quality fish, like, yeah, you're going to have more plastic.
Right.
So I imagine we're
Drinking
consuming
tap water. Tap
water is another big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're probably consuming, I don't know, like a quarter credit card's worth of plastic.
Yeah.
It's still there because they found it in human lung tissue as well, microplastics in human lung tissue. So it's in the air. They found it in baby fetuses. So it's a problem. It's getting everywhere. And people still are in this mindset of it's less expensive. Buying organic and healthy is expensive. Therefore, I'm going to buy this shit that tastes good. That's not as good for me because it's not expensive. When this is the whole point of the podcast is what you pay for now, the less that you pay for something now, the more that you're going to pay for it later.
Right.
In general terms. Now that will start to change once more people do start to buy organic and we stop giving government subsidies to the horrible meat and dairy industry and corn and soy and monocrop wheat and all this stuff to keep the prices low. Once that stops happening, then the organic produce and the regeneratively raised produce is going to just cost a normal price instead of these high prices because it's not poisoned.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I think we've done a really good job of describing, the clown world that we live in from a health perspective and just painting that picture of how bad status quo is, right? So as we dig into this topic of getting the ROI on health, I want to start at talking about all the free things you can do to improve your health, because I think that's really where a lot of people can start, that it doesn't cost them anything. They can improve their health. They can feel better. They can think better. They can look better. So what would be some of your go-to free things that people can start to do to improve their health?
Well, definitely getting sun exposure. Number one thing I tell anybody if they want to start their health and wellness journey is watch the sunrise. because that's going to set you up for a better rest of your day and a better night's sleep, which then leads into the next day and the next day. It's like this flywheel effect. So watching the sunrise, because it shuts off melatonin production, so it wakes you up in the morning, it raises serotonin and dopamine, so you feel better, you're able to stay more motivated, and it resets melatonin production for 14 to 16 hours later. So you actually get better sleep. So sunrise first and foremost. Bonus points if you can ground while watching the sunrise, because then you're reducing inflammation, reducing stress, and that's free. All you got to do is take off your shoes, get on the actual earth, and then movement is free. So people think that they have to have a gym membership or equipment to work out, which is simply not the case.
Go for a walk.
Literally. One of the best things you can do in the morning is go for a barefoot walk while watching the sunrise. Shirtless. Get as much skin contact to the sun as possible. No sunscreen, no sunglasses. But yeah, be careful.
And that, dude, I see that all the time where my partner and I are going for a walk around the neighborhood, Claire, and we'll see people walking with sunglasses on. I'm like, oh, like you fucked it. Like you were so close.
You could be so healthy right now.
Yeah. Like you were so close to getting this right. And you completely fucked it by wearing sunglasses.
Well, to give them some credit, they didn't completely fucked it because they are still walking. They're getting movement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like you would 10x the benefit from that walk if you weren't wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, at least 10x it. Like people, I think because it seems so simple, and because it's free, because it's not this expensive supplement, like they don't think that it has the benefits.
Yeah, right? It's like when people ask me what's like the best thing they can do to get jacked or to lose weight. It's like consistency. Like do this, make this part of your life for the next like 3 years. And they're like, okay, but what else? I'm like, no, that's it. Like, just do it all the time. No, there's got to be something else. Like, no, that's the secret. Show up every day, ready to work, and you'll get good results. And it seems like people want to glance over that or talk over it. But to your point, like getting that early morning sunlight, making sure you're not wearing sunglasses, that should be a staple in your day. That's not costing you any money. That's giving you more energy for the day. It's putting you on a solid routine too. I think a lot of people would benefit from having a more structured routine in the morning, and that can be a big part of it.
Yeah, I teach the CAGES morning ritual, which stands for cold exposure, affirmations, growth, exercise, and sunlight. So the cold exposure, cold showers. We've talked about the benefits of that many times on this podcast. And then affirmations. So I have my clients read their MVVP. Again, that's mission, vision, values, and purpose, along with any affirmations they want to set for themselves to reaffirm who they are first thing in the morning. So they don't wake up and fall back into the old programming. And then the growth is any sort of education. So whether that's reading or podcasts or an online course, whatever. And then the exercise, a better name for it would be movement, but that wouldn't fit in any acronym. I tried. So I put exercise, but I really mean movement. So going out for a morning walk, doing some yoga, some Tai Chi, which I've been doing, which is amazing.
Qigong.
Oh yeah. Qigong.
Yeah.
And then sunlight, the most
Shout
important
out to Troy Casey, the certified health nut. We got to do an Instagram live with him, man. He'd be fire.
We should. Yeah. Well, when I record a podcast with him, we'll for sure do an Instagram live. That would be fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Have you been doing the Qigong?
Not consistently. I've done it a few times since we did it in Minnesota. I will say that it's not the same. It's so much better when you have your feet on the ground. I've done it inside, and it's not the same. So
no. I always go outside in the
barefoot.
sun on the grass, barefoot. Yeah. Shirtless, of course.
Yeah.
And it just feels, I was just going to say, it feels so amazing.
Yeah. I have been going for my morning walk. That's a built-in ritual. I'll never skip that, but I can do a better job of incorporating a few minutes of Qigong into my morning. I love it. It's so good. So
simple, so quick, so easy. And I always feel really, really good afterwards.
Yeah.
I always feel grounded and centered and focused. And then I've been doing, I've got a sledgehammer because I don't have a mace, but I've got that sledgehammer that I've been doing some steel mace flow with. That feels
there. You go. There you go.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Like, stop making bullshit excuses. Like,
Yeah.
go pick something up, pick up some random object and move it around. Like, you don't need a gym membership. Dude, COVID, I was losing my mind, not for the reason most people were, but for the reason that all this complaining and excuses were happening. And I'm like, literally, you just need to move your body.
For sure.
Gyms are closed. So what? Okay, there's nothing you can do about that. What can you do? You can either buy conventional equipment or you can use your surroundings or move to Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. And on that point, obviously, I see it a little differently just because I love powerlifting and bodybuilding, right?
Okay.
And
if you want to build massive amounts of muscle,
right.
Yeah, you're gonna want a gym.
To agree with you, 99% of people, go outside, push, pick up a rock and put it down a whole bunch of times, find something heavy, get your heart rate up a bit. That's completely free. And you will see an enormous ROI on energy, on health, on confidence, on motivation. All of those things are coming from you getting sunlight and movement first thing in the morning.
We now interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you more cool shit from our sponsors. So next up, this episode is brought to you by Aries. And if you're like me and you go to the gym and you go to the store and you travel on airplanes and you go to big cities with 5G towers, you are surrounded by EMFs. This is now just a fact of life, right? Unless you live out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone signal or Wi-Fi, which some people do. But if you're listening to this podcast right now, you surely don't. That means that you're being bombarded by EMFs and you can't necessarily control that wherever you go, right? You can control it in your home to an extent. If you turn off the Wi-Fi router, you can keep your phone on airplane mode, but you're still getting some residual EMFs. That is why I wear Aries devices. So they make a whole host of devices. This one I've got around my neck right here is their personal. I've got the one that's actually called a device on my phone, this little sticker that you can place on anything. I've got one on my computer right here. They make bigger ones that are good for the entire room. And how this works is it actually draws in some of the chaotic energy from the EMFs and it modulates it so it becomes less harmful to the human body. So this isn't actually blocking any of the EMFs, but it makes it so it's less harmful to you. This is super cool. They actually just came out with a video. They had people take a phone call without the Aries device and then with the Aries device while they were hooked up to an EEG, which measures their brainwaves. And what they found was incredible. The first call with no Aries device lit up the brain. It was all red. You can see it in the video. Then the second call with the Aries device was better than their baseline, which is just incredible. So if you are like me and like most modern people, if you're listening to this podcast, you're surrounded by EMFs, at least protect yourself. And it's super simple. All you got to do is either stick the little device on your phone or wear it around your neck. They make ones that you can put in your wallet. They make ones that you can just place somewhere in the room and you're protected. It's incredible. And Aries is offering you guys an exclusive discount for listening to the Captain's Lifestyle podcast. If you head over to ariestech.com and enter the code Captain Morgan, that will save you 25% on these EMF modulating devices. Head over to the website to check out more information and get your exclusive discount. Next up, this episode is also brought to you by WaveBlock. So WaveBlock is this EMF blocking sticker that I've got on the back of my phone. And what's cool about them is they actually block some of the EMF that's being emitted from your phone from actually contacting your skin and messing you all up with oxidative stress, right? So if you're like me and you take your phone to the gym, which I do sometimes, and if you're like those people who take their phone into the sauna, which I do sometimes, if you're like those people who keep their phone in their pocket or their fanny pack, which I do, at least protect yourself with a WaveBlock sticker. And also keep your phone on airplane mode. Because not only does keeping your phone on airplane mode significantly reduce some of the EMFs because you're not getting the cell phone signal or the Wi-Fi signal, but if you have the WaveBlock sticker on the back of that too, that's just double whammy. So I keep my phone in my pocket now or my fanny pack, the backside facing me. So the EMF is blocked from contacting my body. It's super cool. And I actually measured it with my EMF meter because I was skeptical, like how much does this little sticker actually block the EMFs? Turns out it does significantly, or else I wouldn't be promoting it to you guys. And WaveBlock also makes stickers for AirPods. So instead of getting that Bluetooth directly into your earballs, then you can wrap the WaveBlock sticker around and you're protected. Simple as that. So again, they are giving an exclusive discount to listeners of the Captain's Lifestyle podcast. All you got to do is head over to waveblock.com, enter code Captain Morgan. That will save you 20% on these EMF blocking stickers. All right, now let's get back into today's episode.
What else? Like, is there anything else that is in that free category that you would put into that you would add?
Yes. Connections. Like talking with
human connection.
Yeah. Close friends
Podcasts.
And family. Podcasts. Yeah. There is an oxytocin release with virtual meeting. It's not as high as in person, but there is an oxytocin release. And oxytocin is like a feel good neurotransmitter, right? It's like the love chemical.
Yeah.
I believe that's what MDMA is acting on is oxytocin. Oxytocin and serotonin, I believe.
Got it. So it's nature's MDMA.
Yeah. Like giving
people
like physical touch too. Like if not just meeting them in person, but actually physically touching. That's why cuddle puddles are so euphoric. If it's of course with people that you love. So yeah, human connection, 100%. I believe that was the loss of human connection and the feeling of isolation and fear over the pandemic was actually the real pandemic. And people say that, oh, this is the real pandemic. I really think that caused more harm than the actual virus itself.
Right.
And we're not even close to seeing the full effects of that yet.
No, man. I am really concerned to see the long-term effects of kids.
Yeah.
From this whole COVID thing.
And facial expressions too. Like kids growing up, that's so important.
Yeah.
But it was all, yeah. Well, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. We can keep it relatively on.
Let's try not to get shadow banned today.
Yeah, we are live on Instagram, so we do got to be careful. Don't freaking cancel us, shadow ban us. But yeah, so other free ways, the human connection for sure. We mentioned the sunlight, the grounding, the movement. Yeah. The human connection, sleep is free. Of course, there are things that you can buy to optimize the quality of your sleep, but
yeah, let's talk about that in a second, where we go into like the paid things that you'll see an outsized return on. Yeah.
I mean, breathing.
I was going to say breathing. Yeah. Being aware of your breath, breathing deeply, extending the exhale so that you tap into your parasympathetic nervous system. Those are all things that cost you nothing and you see a tremendous benefit from.
Yeah. And then we can go deeper, like breathing for performance. Like I've noticed, because I've started back at my CrossFit gym, I've noticed that I'm in better shape than I should be because I haven't been doing CrossFit style workouts yet. I'm able to stay extremely consistent throughout the entire workout and feel really good the whole time. And I attribute that to one, ketone IQ, like that stuff has been incredible. The exogenous ketones for endurance, and then also nasal breathing. Now that I'm aware of nasal breathing and I've been practicing that for the past like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
My physical stamina and endurance it's like 10x. Like that is a huge performance enhancer, is breathing through your nose the whole time.
Yeah.
And then if you need it, you do have this extra, you can kick it into overdrive and breathe through your mouth, like when you start to sprint or something. So yeah, breathing, another free method. Journaling, you got to pay for the pen and paper. Like you could find a pen and paper, whatever. But journaling is free. Just getting down your thoughts instead of keeping everything rattling around up there. Meditation is free. Just closing your eyes and just being mindful.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is free. I think a lot of the problems that people face stem from anxiety, aka a fear of what could potentially happen in the future, or depression from dwelling on what already did happen in the past. That's where people are living. They're not living in the present. They're living in the past. They're living in the future. And this is me included. Like, I am by no means perfect at this, but the sooner that you can recognize that usually it's associated with depression, living in the past, as soon as you can recognize that and switch it to this present moment, okay, you don't have to feel those feelings right now. You can choose how you feel right now. I heard this analogy the other day. Like, imagine, here's that word again, imagine if you are some entity, some consciousness, and then all of a sudden you woke up, you became conscious in the body of Sam Johnston. And your only goal was to make his life as good as it possibly can be. Like, that's your only goal. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It doesn't matter, because you just became conscious right now. And so we can literally play that game with ourselves.
Yeah.
We can pretend that we are this consciousness that, okay, I've just become awake. I'm in this body. I have these surroundings. This is my occupation. How can I make this the best possible day? And just keep that going.
Yeah.
And that's free.
I love that. That's so good.
I don't remember who I heard that from. I wish I could give them credit.
Yeah. It's like, it almost brings that sense of simulation theory, or you're like gamifying life when you pretend you've dropped into this body and you're here right now. Okay, now what do I do? But that completely cuts you off from all the, oh, I should have done this, I could have done that, I wish I had done XYZ. You're here now. What next? And living your life from that vantage point is super fucking powerful.
AKA not being a victim.
Yeah. Oh, victimhood is hip right now.
It's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Hey, have you been offended recently? No.
Yeah.
Oh, go get offended. Try it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all the rage.
Have you let anybody control your emotions lately? No. Oh man, you're missing out. You could feel so sad and so depressed and so angry all the time. It's great.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
100%. So what do you think? Let's talk specifically about the ROI on being healthy from a long-term health perspective is obvious, right? Like, you're not taking sick days, you have more energy. And I think most people are aware of that. But what I really like to talk about is the ROI from the identity that you build from getting in really good shape and being really healthy. Because I have found, for me, in my experience of building an exceptional physique through exercise, this has become an area of my life that I have got a high level of success in, right? And for me now, what I've learned through my training in hypnosis is there's something called the consistency bias, right? And that means that you strive to be consistent in all areas of life, right? And I can relate this to you on, you talk about how bad plastic is for the ocean, and your consistency bias makes it so that you don't go and use a straw at a restaurant, right? Like, we try to be consistent in all areas of life. And I found, for me, that in me having this evidence of like, oh fuck, I can really crush it in this area of life, why can't I do it in this area of life? And for a long time, the idea of entrepreneurship, or even doing something like this where we're live and we're recording a podcast, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, right? But the more and more I started to get present to how I was thriving in this other area of my life, I was like, well, if I can thrive there, why can't I thrive here? And then if I can thrive there, why can't I thrive here? And it's like, I see health and physical fitness as your most immediate experience of reality, right? Like, this is the vehicle that you experience reality through. And if you're not happy with the vehicle that you're experiencing reality through, I think that tints your perception of everything else that you experience. And I would imagine, based off of my own experience of when I realized that I truly mastered this area of my life, how I'm like, well, I'm going to go master every area of my life. I believe that if you are someone who has identified with being out of shape, being tired, being overweight your entire life, you might be bringing that mindset with you everywhere you go and limiting your performance and potential.
Take out the might.
Yeah, let's take out the might. That's obvious. I had a new client sign up with me last week. He's a account executive for a big tech company, and his primary goal is weight loss. And one of the things that he said in our onboarding call was one of the reasons he wants to get in good shape is because he knows that he could sense that he wasn't comfortable going to meet customers in person because he was out of shape. And he thought that would give them the wrong impression of how well he could take care of their business for them.
Mm.
So if you don't feel like you can take care of your body and you're a real estate agent or a financial advisor or, a lawyer, what's the perception of a potential client going to be in that situation? And I thought that was really fascinating to hear from my client who recently signed up. And yeah, what do you think about that?
I think about that all the time.
Mm.
I think about, I'm very hesitant to take advice from somebody who clearly looks unhealthy.
I would never go to a doctor that doesn't lift weights.
Yeah. Like you see, Dr. Mark Hyman just recently posted an Instagram photo. He's like 60, he's over 60 and he's still fucking shredded, like super low body fat, like just crushing it. Him and Mark Sisson is like 70 something, I believe, and just fucking jacked. But yeah, like I'm hesitant to take advice from anybody who is visibly unhealthy, whether that is low muscle mass. So they don't have to be muscular or fat, but if you're skinny, but you have no muscle mass, that's also unhealthy. Mm-hmm. If you're pale, if you've got like these tired bags under your eyes, if you got all these sores all over your skin, it's like, it's clear that you're not healthy. So your brain is inflamed, therefore cannot work properly as well as it could be. So all that being said, like there are people who are physically unhealthy, but they are extremely good at their job, at what they do. Mm. And that just shows that they could be so much better if they were to take care of themselves. The same thing goes with like entrepreneurs who say that they only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep and they're fucking crushing it in business. Mm-hmm. Like they grew a massive like $1 billion company, whatever. Mm-hmm. There are some examples out there. Like Donald Trump, for example, he's fucking multi-billionaire. And I think he says he sleeps like billions. I think he sleeps like 5 hours a night. Yeah. So that just shows how much more proficient he would be.
I mean, he's also like the iconic milk bag physique too. So
yeah. So it's like, imagine if he was a fucking alpha captain,
right?
Like he could be a trillionaire.
Oh yeah.
Because for like, regardless of your political affiliation, the guy really is actually pretty smart. He knows
100%
his shit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, imagine if he was able to get better sleep, if he did care about his nutrition and got sunlight, and instead of the fake spray tan or whatever it is that he does, So I think about that a lot. Your physical representation is a direct representation of your inner world, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think, someone could hear.
Although I will say, last thing, that being said, just because you are jacked or tan or whatever does not mean that you're healthy.
Agreed.
And also does not mean that your inner world is healthy either.
Yeah.
Our buddy Chase Tollison has this analogy. He's like, some people are going to the gym to use lifting weights as an alcoholic uses a bottle of tequila.
Mhm.
Like they're using it to suppress some hurt emotion inside of them.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. And so, of course, everything is a balance. Just because you look good doesn't mean that your inner world is good and, you're healthy.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, they see all the pro bodybuilders on Instagram and they see guys that are in crazy shape. And they miss the part in understanding that they just optimize for that one thing. Like they don't give a fuck if they have energy throughout the day. In fact, when people get ready for stage in bodybuilding competitions, they are so unhealthy. Sometimes people die in bodybuilding prep.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah, not from like a car accident or like literally from their body shutting down on them.
What is that from? What would that be from? Dehydration?
I'm not sure. I know that for bodybuilders on PEDs, hypertrophy of the smooth musculature in like getting an enlarged heart or something is a major health risk.
Yeah.
So it could be like a cardiac arrest from something like that. But I mean, you're driving your body down to like 4% body fat. That's not something your body wants to do. And, if you're a bodybuilder and you love doing that, go. I'm not telling you not to, but it shouldn't be the average Joe's goal to get down to 4% body fat.
And that's what people think is healthy. Like that's what they think like the optimal physique is. And it's just not. Like it's not sustainable.
Agreed. And I don't know if I think more awareness is coming out around how that's not what someone a normal person should strive for. But there definitely are people that, look to the models in GNC and in the bodybuilding magazines of like, oh, that's what I want to strive for. If you want to dedicate your life to taking steroids and going into these crazy deficits and surpluses, like you can do that, but it shouldn't be confused that that's what someone needs to do for optimal health. That's absolutely not what they should be looking for.
Liver King's not on steroids.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Man, that's what it like. Would you?
I don't know,
dude. For anyone,
apparently there's before and after pictures.
I've had so many people ask me if I think Liver King is natty, and there's no fucking way. That guy's blasting tren, testosterone, HGH, 100%.
You think he is currently?
Currently, yes.
Because,
or I mean, look, I don't know currently, but for sure he has.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I really don't know that much about him. Like, I'm not a Liver King researcher, but based on my understanding of him, like if he is the man that he plays himself to be, one of the most important things about masculinity is integrity, like being a man of your word, right? And if he says that he's natural and he is this man, right, then I'm going to take him for his word. That being said, he could have done PEDs sometime in the past, and then there's still, anytime you take them, you still have these residual effects that make it easier to build muscle. So that may be possible.
And I'm also like, dude, Instagram is full of so much bullshit with so many guys that say they're natty that clearly aren't. And I have people accuse me often of taking steroids. So I understand. And for the record, I've never taken any kind of steroids, and I'm not anti-steroid. I think that maybe there could be a time in my life where I do HRT or TRT, depending on life circumstance. Like if I'm 50 years old and I'm feeling tired and weak and
stop studying your balls.
Yeah, and I'm not studying my balls anymore. And me taking a vial of testosterone makes sense at that stage of my life. I would be open to it. But right now, I get all the gains that I want and I don't need it. So why would I want to shut down my own natural production of test by taking it exogenously? So that's my current stance on it. I'm not anti-steroid, but I am anti selling fitness programs when you're blasting steroids and pretending that you're not. Like that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And Instagram is full of that. And I think it creates a very misleading idea of what the results that people should be getting are. And ultimately, I think that that can be very frustrating for people when they look at guys that are professional bodybuilders and obviously, on PEDs. And then they're like, oh, why can't I look like that? It's like, bro, that guy's been sticking needles in his ass for 4 years. Like, of course you're not going to look like that. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to be, so far, I haven't been too like accusational of it, just because I do have a lot of people accuse me falsely of taking steroids. So I try to question my own beliefs of like, maybe Liver King isn't on steroids. Maybe like I guess there's a non-zero chance that he's not on steroids. But anyways, we've gone on a bit of a tangent here. Yeah. So getting back to like the ROI thing, yes. What do you think? Like if you had to pick a few things that people would spend their money on to improve their health, that would get them the greatest ROI, what do you think those things would be for you?
It depends on where they're at. So what stage, like we talking 10-year couch potato, like knows nothing? We talking relatively optimized, just looking to take it to the next level? Where on that spectrum?
No, let's go more with the average, like 30-year-old who is making good money, like has a good job, but has never really mastered their health. They've got 30 pounds to lose and they're like, where do I start? I've got some money. I want to spend it. Where should I be focusing my resources in order to maximize the ROI I get on that?
Well, this is going to be extremely biased to both of us, but hire a coach.
Dude, yeah.
1,000%, not even close.
I agree with you. And as I've been investing more in coaches for me, I think that same thing applies to people who are advanced. Like hiring that coach that is like 2 to 3 steps ahead of where you are is always going to be the fast track to you getting the results you want. Because you could spend 40, 80, 100 hours going through Google, going through YouTube, doing all your research, finding out all the information. And look, you'll probably say the same thing. All the things that we teach can be found for free on the internet, right?
It's free.
But the value of having a coach that has gone through that process before you to guide you through that is not only do you save all the time of not having to go through the conflicting information and watch the conflicting YouTube videos and then you just end up confused and don't do anything. Not only do you avoid that, but you also get the accountability and the guidance every step of the way. So I think hiring a coach in any area of life, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's finance, whether it's any part of personal development, relationship, that's always going to be the fast track to you getting the results you want. And oftentimes too, not only do you get to connect with really cool people, but you get to be a part of a community when you join coaching programs of other people. You find your tribe, right? And I think that is a huge missing piece for a lot of people that try to improve their health is they feel like they're doing it on an island. They feel like they're all alone. They feel like they're isolating themselves. And that is not sustainable. That is not going to be the path that gets you the results that you want or that you can keep.
Boom. That's it.
Mic drop.
Yeah. I recorded a podcast about that a while ago because I always have some form of coach or mentor or am going through a personal development course. As you know, I go to different seminars and things all the fucking time. Yeah. It's like I am always learning and investing in myself because I understand that the greatest ROI is not Bitcoin, is not NFTs, is not the stock market, not real estate, but in your freaking brain.
Yeah, your own body. Absolutely.
Like 100% by far. So yeah, I'm always working with some form of coach or mentor. And you mentioned like hire a coach in any area of your life. For like business coaching, for example, for most people, I think business coaches are bullshit. Because
tell me more about that. How come? Because
they will probably teach you how to become more efficient at what you're currently doing. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but that's probably what they're going to teach you more about the actual workings of your business and things like that. But if you don't have the capacity to implement those things and to stay consistent with those things, then what's the point of getting better at something you maybe even don't want to do? Maybe they don't even have a mission statement. Maybe they're just doing this because it makes them more money and that's what they associated with success. So you're getting better at something that you don't even want to be doing, accelerating your path to a place you don't want to go. So that's why in my program, like one of the first things I have my clients do is create their MBVP. It's like, have a clear picture of where you want to go. And then let's get your brain and your body ready and more optimized so that you can handle whatever comes along the way. So if you just hire a business coach and they're only working on the efficiency side of things without looking where you're going or without addressing your actual capability to do those things, I think that's a waste of money. So get your body and your brain optimized first, then dial in your business.
Right. That makes sense. So for you, the business coach would need to have a focus on that, not only the business part, but the personal development side of like, who are you going to be in this process of running your business?
Because it's all connected.
For sure. I totally agree with you.
Brendan Bouchard, he's like the world's leading high performance coach. And in his book, High Performance Habits, he doesn't go in depth into any of these things like we do, but he mentions, you got to get good quality sleep. That's a priority. He says in his book, if fitness is one of your primary goals, there should be no reason why you don't hire a coach.
Yeah.
Like he says that in the book. So yes, hire a coach, eat properly, sleep well. That's going to then allow you to be more efficient and more effective at your work.
Yeah.
Right. So talk to us about what you offer with Alpha Body Systems.
Yeah. So Alpha Body System is a 16-week program for busy professional men to help them shed fat, build lean defined muscle, and feel confident as fuck in all areas of life. And in Alpha Body System,
as abs.
Yes, abs.
Just perfect.
ABS. So in ABS, we get guys dialed in on their nutrition, dialed in on their fitness and the mobility. And then we have a huge emphasis on the mindset piece too. So everything's fully customized. From our intake process, we understand what the best types of foods and meals for you to be eating for you and your goals are. We understand based off of your schedule and any previous injury history, what type of resistance training and exercise program is going to be optimal for you. And then we guide you through our signature mindset methodology to really cultivate the identity. Like we've said, identity is such a crucial part of all of this, right? You can do the exercise, you can do the breath work, you can eat right. But if you're not doing the internal work too, it won't stick. And that's really what people are after. I find when people come to me wanting to lose 20 pounds of fat, put on 10 pounds of muscle, whatever the physical result is, really they have an idea of who they can be in the world, and they see this as the vehicle to get there. Yep. So that's what we do in Alpha Body System. And we've got an awesome track record of amazing transformation photos and awesome client testimonies to back that up.
Yeah, I love how excited you get when you get a new transformation photo, because as a coach, I get it. Like when I get those messages, when people send me pictures, like that feeling for me personally is like the greatest feeling on the planet.
Yeah, it's like, awesome.
I almost, I don't know, it might be close. I champion other people's successes probably more than my own. Like I just really love seeing my clients specifically thrive. And you have some freaking amazing transformation photos.
Thank you. I really appreciate that recognition. But I also think I need to shout out my clients, because they come in with so much commitment to who they want to be and the changes that they want to create. And we're just giving them the framework. We're like, yo, dude, you want to go here? You want to be this person? Great. Here's the map.
Do it.
Yeah, it's them showing up day in, day out, having the commitment, having the consistency to put in the work to get those results that allow them to get them. And I got a really cool message today from one of our clients. He came into the program and he was having a really hard time losing weight. Boom, he's already down 10 pounds in 2 months. He's getting way stronger. He's way leaner. And he sent me a message today, and he goes, you know, something that's really cool. I share my results and stuff with my buddies, and now I've seen them all get back into lifting and stuff, and I'm excited for them now. So his transformation has spurred on other people. And then he sends me another message, and he goes, what do you go here? He goes, it's awesome, man. It's a lot more fun to win as a team than by yourself. Having the ABS tribe definitely gives me a lot of motivation. I can't be letting Josh and Liam get stronger than me. Those are two other clients in the tribe. So just to have, like, I can feel my heart opening just like talking about it, because it's so cool when, you know, I'm able to give my expertise to my clients to help them, but then they start motivating each other, and they're helping each other within the group, and then they're going out into their own lives, and they're being an inspiration for other people that can take control of this part of their lives. And I mean, man, the reason why I call alpha body system is because your health is your alpha system, right? When your health is on point, every fucking area of your life is better. You make more money, you have more energy, you have more confidence, you bring more value to the people in your life. And, you know, if you're a billionaire and you have shitty health, you're not enjoying those billions of dollars, right? Everything immediately gets brought down a huge level by your health not being in check. So the fact that we're able to help, you and I both are able to help people master that area of their lives is like, what else could I be spending my time doing right now?
Boom, clip it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, whenever somebody asks me what's the best part of coaching, I always say that, like, not the results that I get my clients, but then my clients' results rubbing off on the people close to them.
Yeah, totally.
That's
that
the
trickle
best.
Down effect.
The residual ripple effect. Absolutely.
Totally.
Well, Sam, thank you for hopping on. Shout out your social medias.
Yeah, so you
now.
can. Yeah, I got a TikTok. I'm getting on my TikTok game. So my handles on Instagram and TikTok are at the Samuel Johnston, and you can find out everything that I do with my program by DMing me, or you can check out my website, which is stateofalpha.com.
Awesome, and links to all this will be in the show notes. Thanks again for coming on, Sam.
Thank you, Captain Taylor.